Hey everybody, this is Rick with Vushi, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set up the Vushi WIMP board. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want you to do is I want you to check and make sure that the land that you're working with is land that you currently own, or it's land that's been deeded to a group that you're going to be working with. Okay, so go ahead and click World at the very top of your screen. Go to Place Profile and choose About Land. Okay, and in the About Land window, go ahead and click on the General tab if it's not there. And I want you to look under Owner. And Owner should either have your avatar's name there, or it should say Group Owned. Okay? If it says Group Owned, make sure the group that you're working with is going to be the one that you need to deed the board to. So this one is currently working with VTSEC Development. Okay? Now to check my avatar, make sure that that group is active currently. I'm going to right click on my avatar and choose My Groups. And in the My Groups window, you can see that VTSEC Development is in bold, so that's the one that is currently active. Okay. Now I want you to go ahead and check and make sure you have the ability to deed objects to this particular group. Okay, so I'm going to click on the View Profile button, and it automatically will take us to the General tab. I want to click on the Roles tab. And in the Roles tab, it'll bring up members first. I want to go ahead and click on Roles. Okay, and then I want to highlight the role that I'm currently working in within this group. Currently I'm working in the administrator group, or administrator role in this group. So I'm going to click on that. I want to look down here at the allowed abilities. So if I scroll down towards the bottom of allowed abilities, I want to find object management. And I want to make sure that there's a check mark next to deed objects to group, okay? Because I do have to deed the WIMP board to the group that's been deeded, and the group or the land that we're working on has been deeded to that same group, okay? So I do have a check mark. If you don't have a check mark there and you don't have the ability to change that, then you probably need to get a hold of the person that's doing the management for that particular group and ask them to give you the rights to deed objects to the group, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way. Close out the About Land. There's one more thing I do want you to check though in the About Land features. If you go to World, Place Profile, About Land, this time I want you to click on Media. And in the Media, I want you to look at the Replace Texture thumbnail. I want you to click on that. And it's going to show that mine is already set to the default media texture. If yours isn't, I need you to go ahead and do a search for it. So default media, and that should bring it up. And then you should see default media texture in your library. It's in everybody's library. It's kind of standard on all avatars. So just click on that, click OK, and that way it's set to the default media texture. Okay, because that's the texture that we use on the WIMP board to display content. So I can go ahead and close this out, and I'm going to go to my inventory now and find my WIMP board and res it out. And it's going to initialize for a minute, so we'll give it a moment. Go ahead and minimize my sidebar. Okay, now that our WIMP board is resed out, I'm going to right click and choose Edit. And I'm going to move over to the Content tab. And in the Content tab, I need you to double click on Access List. And in the Access List, this list pretty much will tell you which avatars will have the ability to go in and edit any of the note cards within this WIMP board once it's deeded to the group. Okay. Currently, Vushi members or the Vushi staff, their avatar names are in this list. If you don't want any of the Vushi team members to be in your list or have access to your board, you can highlight them all and delete them. But you must always at least have your avatar's name in this list. Because if there are no names in the access list, guess what? Nobody can get into any of the note cards to change any of the content. Okay, so at least put your avatar's name in this access list. So I'm going to put mine back in. And then I'm going to click Save. And then I'm going to close this out. And so what happens is once I deed this to the group, my avatar will be the only one that can access any of the note cards within the WIMP board. Okay, you can change that later, and we will change it later after it's been deeded. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to the General tab now, and I want to make sure under Group that it has the VTSCC Development Group. Remember, that's the group that this land has been deeded to. So for the board to work, it has to be deeded to that same group. And in order for me to deed it to that group, I have to have the abilities to deed to the group also, and I do. So let's make sure that there's a check mark next to share. If there isn't, it doesn't give you the ability to deed. So I'm going to go ahead and put the check mark back in there. And I'm going to go ahead and click deed, and you'll get a warning telling you about lindens being paid to it and all that. Just go ahead and click deed. And the board is initialized and complete. And let's go ahead and check it. I'm going to go ahead and close out the edit window. I'm going to load a web image R2D2. I need to make sure and push play on my media if it's not playing at the moment. And there you go. I see R2D2, so it's grabbing an image from the web and bringing it into Second Life via our WIMP board. And if I advance it another slide, I should see another image. There we go. Now I did tell you that we can go back in and edit and add people to the list, the access list, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to right click and edit. Go to Content, Access List. I'm going to put a hard return and put another member in there. And click Save. And we've added another person to this list. So now my avatar can get into this board as well as Chris G. Texan. Okay. One thing to note: do not put another hard return after the last name on the list, or else it's not going to read the list correctly. So just make sure that the cursor stays at the last letter of the last name on the list. Okay. Hopefully that helped you guys out. If you have any questions or want to know more about Vushi, you can check us out at www.vushi.org. VUSHI.org. Okay. Thanks.